Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today on the bench we have an extremely dirty Ibanez RG270. It's got some issues. Electronics are a little bit messed up. The only thing really wrong in here is that the switch was not grounded. But if you look at the input jack, man, it looks like Akira. Seriously, just major solder tumors all over this thing. It's awful. And I noticed the leads are backwards as well, so we have to flip those around. That'll be the first thing we do. Here's a cool shot of the soldering iron. Tip's getting kind of old, so I need to replace it. This shot I left in because those giant globs sitting there on the bench, or my ottoman in this case, are what was left of those tumors. And here I'm just switching the things back around like they should be. And the other side, and we'll see if this fixes the problem. Alright, that sound means everything is working as it should. So there's still a little bit of hum. So I was messing around with the ground, just trying to see if there's anything we could do. Probably needs to be shielded as well. It wouldn't be a RGR guitar without a freaking spider living in it. This guy unfortunately had passed away. We would have let him go into the wild. Now I put a little rubber block up under the Floyd so I can take these strings off without fear of snapback. All 4 strings that are left. Yeah, it's a good time to mention this was sitting in this gentleman's garage, apparently by the door, so it requires a lot of cleaning and sprucing up. You got the neck off. There's your Ibanez sandpaper strip you use for the spacer in the neck. Looks like we got a January 02. That's cool. My birthday is in January. These are nut drivers. I suggest you get them. They make life easier when you're taking off tuning pegs. Alright, we're popping out the sprigs here. Release the Floyd. Here's a better look at our spider buddy. I'm going to call him Toby. Like Spider-Man. I always label the bag with my parts in it so that way I know what it goes to. Alright, we got the frets taped off because we're going to get those cleaned up. But first we're going to take off this truss cover. And look how awesome that is. Also, I'm amazed that an Ibanez came into my shop that actually had the truss cover. So that's a mark on the pro column right there. Just gonna use a little bit of Windex, get all this nastiness cleaned off, see how it comes out. Grody. Looking good. Hopefully that's a preview for the rest of the guitar. Now, we're doing this on a budget, so the reason I'm touching up some of these smaller screws is because it's just cheaper for the customer. I did buy several new screws for this and things like that, but we wanted to stay budget conscious because he wanted this, you know, for his kids to play with. It didn't need to be perfect. So there's a couple little tips for budget restorations that you'll see done in this. Here you can see clean growed versus non-clean growed. Yeah, it's just all over this guitar. Alright, so the poles of these pickups are pretty much toast. They're all covered in rust, so we're scraping the rust off. You're not going to be able to get these back up to looking chrome. So once I get the rust off, I'm going to cover each pole with a little bit of graphite. The easiest way to get graphite is from a number 2 pencil. This is just a montage of cleaning them. So the lead of the pencil is graphite, and it's just going to put a little bit of a sheen back over it, and it's also going to cover the rust and hopefully keep it from getting worse. So again, this is a budget restoration, so I'm not taping off these and painting them or anything like that. This is the simplest, most effective way to keep a sheen on the poles, but obviously not spend a bunch of money. And they look a lot more even than they did. They're not rusty anymore. Here we are cleaning rust out of some other important screws. And we'll touch these up as well. Alright, starting to look shiny. We're getting there. Now, there was paint on this guitar. There's several deep scratches, but some of them actually had white paint. So I used a little tiny bit of paint thinner and got all that off. Get it all cleaned up real nice later. A little more paint coming off here. So there was some giant gnarly chips on the body as well. And obviously, you know, one day he may want to get this repainted, but for now he just wanted to keep these from getting worse. So we're going to stabilize them with some super glue. And then obviously this won't fix the chips, but it will keep them from getting worse. Again, this is a very budget conscious restoration. Now I'm polishing the frets. I won't bore you with all the details. You've seen me do this on the channel several times. Yeah, see, these have dried. It's dried now, so it's nice and smooth. But yeah, so these screws are all coming out because they were all beyond saving. All of these are just getting thrown away and replaced. But while I had everything out, I decided to clean up the pickup rings. Alright, so here's the fretboard before I go over it with the final little bit of polish. So we're going to put a little more polish on it, and then we're going to hit it with the Dremel. Just like you see here. Sort of the final step in the nicening up of the fretboard. Or the frets anyway. See? Shiny. Is there anything better than shiny frets? I mean, come on. Alright. There's a lot better than shiny frets. Alright, so now we're oiling the fretboard after cleaning it, which you've seen me do several times, so I won't spend much time there. Putting new screws in, and here I am sprucing up the neck bolts. Sprucing up the neck screws with a little bit of black paint. And this is ABS plastic, which I cut some new plastics out of. If you want to see how to do that, there's going to be a video coming out soon on how I actually made these. It's a lot cheaper than trying to find them online, and you can make sure you get the ones that fit, because that's the biggest pain about all these different Ibanez RG types and stuff, is making sure to get the right plastics. Now I'm just putting in the inserts for the neck. We can get that put back on. Like so. And the bridge needed some attention, so a little bit of WD-40, and I'm just gonna scrub the heck out of it with this brush. Now normally in a full restoration I would take every single piece out of this and everything would be clean to death. So again, this is a budget conscious one. So we cleaned the tuners as well. We oil them so they operate smoothly, but we also make sure they're very clean. And reinsert them. And I won't bore you with the super fun task of setting up a Floyd Rose. I'm sure anybody who owns one, I'm sure it's your favorite thing to do, is to change strings on your Floyd. Of course the ball end has to hang out there and all the fun adjusting, but we won't go into how super long it takes to do a guitar setup properly. We'll just play the dang thing. well, we got her sounding good and looking good, ready to get back out there rocking, or at least into the hands of his kids so they can rock. I always like to be a part of that. The resurrection of an instrument. It always makes me feel a little warm and fuzzy inside to know that the next generation of musicians is going to get to play it. Thanks very much, guys, as always. I appreciate the support. Like, share, subscribe, and help us out. If you want to super help us out, hit us up on Bandcamp and buy a few songs. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.